When I first started out in making speeches, I was advised that speech making was very like pregnancy. All too easy to conceive, but much more difficult to deliver. However, on the usual, more serious note, may I thank all of you for either being involved, contributing, and attending a historical event. I'm sure that when William Harley set out on his journey in 1859, he would have had no idea what the future had in store for him. That his son would establish one of the world's most recognizable brands, that Andy Hazel would create this most wonderful memorial to him, replicating one of his son's greatest designs, and finally to have his memorial unveiled by two of his great-grandchildren, Margot Manning and John E. Harley Jr. As usual, all of this has not been achieved by accident, but as clearly with so many things, luck, or your definition of it, has played a part. The chance discovery of a letter dated April 15th, 1893, led to the Littleport Society and Bruce Frost and the historical facts being confirmed. However, to get to this point where we are today, there has first of all been a lot of hard work and support. Hard work by the event organising committee, 16 of them who are supposed to be located over here, but are behind me just to keep me on edge, as if I'm not on edge enough already. And much more importantly, the long-suffering wives, partners and family. And as far as I'm concerned, I'd like you to first of all give them all a round of applause, please. Thank you. And specifically, as far as this memorial is concerned, David Porter. David, a round of applause, please. Thank you. As with all of these things, I shall probably get to the end of the thank you list and somebody will be upset, in which case I apologise, but I will try my best. The thank yous apply to the Littleport Society, Littleport Parish Council, Commission East, Arts Development in East Cambridgeshire, the Littleport Partnership, Charlotte Henbury, Littleport Day Centre, Littleport Community Primary School, Families in Littleport Action Group, East Cambridgeshire District Council and Commission East. Key funders for the project have been the European Union, East of England Development Agency and East Cambridge District Council. Finally, to complete the ceremony, we have, or should have, been represented here today by Mr. Charles Gurney from the United States Embassy. Unless he's suddenly arrived, I will move on to the next point. Secondly, we have been very lucky to have Mr. Malcolm Moss, our local MP, who's located behind me, and will be saying a few words in a minute. Additionally, we were to have had represented here Captain Jenny Christian, representing the 3rd Air Force. And again, unless she suddenly arrived, we'll move on to the next point. There. Hi! Welcome! Would you like to come down here, please? Oh, go on. Be a devil. Thank you. You know, it's the William Harley spirit that will enable you to come down here And just, are you able to say a few words?
No.
No, okay. Thank you very much then for attending, and we're very grateful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, the Harley part of the equation. And as Malcolm said, the fantastic support we've had from the various Harley owners groups is but one part of the support we've had from the Harley family. The two cousins have supported this project from day one. We have had major contributions from the family, and specifically from Margot Manning, who you'll meet shortly, without which I think this event would have faltered some considerable time ago. And I think it's important that if you've all enjoyed yourself, you go away and you advise those people within Harley-Davidson what a great time you've had, and specifically, as I said yesterday, write with your comments to Willie G. Please. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to ask John E. Harley Jr., the official title of the grandson of William Sylvester Harley, to say a few words to you. Thank you.
I can't tell you if it's morning or afternoon. My clock is still on Wisconsin time. I really don't know what to say. I'm not a public speaker. I'm not a big industrialist. I definitely don't work for the government. Well, I take that back. I'm a mailman. But I don't talk of being a mailman. I have sort of before said something a few other times that I've talked about the importance of my grandfather and how he had the courage to emigrate from here and go to the United States and do the things that he did. And of course, you can see the importance of what my great-grandfather. You can of course see what my grandfather has done, because we're all writing one. And if we aren't, you probably wish you were. But the fact of the matter is that what those men did is no different than what you are doing now. They all lived life. They all raised families. They all spanked their children when they were bad, and they wiped their little behinds when they weren't. But they did something somewhere in their life. They triggered somebody. They gave somebody the initiative. They gave somebody the will to step forward. And because of that, we are here honoring them. Which means that each and every one of us has that equal and same opportunity. You may not understand it, you may not live to see it, but you could possibly influence somebody in your life to excel and to step forward and therefore be honored. And I honor you. Thank you.
Now we also have a lady here called Kate Harley, and Kate Harley is the wife of John E. Harley Jr. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, she had never flown in her life before. She has had the courage to, first of all, get on that plane, and secondly, put up with an interview schedule that's gone on and on and on. I don't think I'm going to persuade her to speak, but... Yes? You going to come?
Sure.
Yes,
Yeah, okay. She will. Okay. Kate Harley.
You really know how to make a person nervous.
I am absolutely not a public speaker, and I am completely overwhelmed by all of you. I am a Harley by marriage, and this whole thing came about because I was doing a family tree for the sake of our sons. Because going to school, people would say, well, are you related to the Harleys? And they'd say, yeah. And they'd say, yeah, sure, right. How do you prove this? And that's what's said about this whole thing. I got as far as the East Coast of America and had no idea where in England, although the family knew they came from England, where do you go? When my husband's mother passed away and we were cleaning our house out and we sat in the evening and went through tons and tons of paperwork, we found this little letter folded up, no envelope, dated 1893, that obviously was kept for some very important reason. And the address on the letter went back to Victoria Street in Littleport, England. And I had no idea, was there a Littleport? Was there a Victoria Street? After 100 years, does one know? And some time passed because I started this project back in '88. I made the acquaintance of Roy and Judy Corfield. They had contacted the company for some literature because I work for Harley-Davidson. And we struck up this acquaintance and they asked if there was anything they could do for me. And I said, yes. Is there a Littleport? Is there somebody I can write to? And they provided information. I contacted Bruce Frost and he has done a phenomenal job. He made a connection. This church has been the foundation of a great deal of information. And I think it is so fitting that all of this is taking place in the shadow of that church. And I feel so comfortable among you people. I have read, I have studied, I've looked at pictures of your city, and not a city, I'm sorry, you don't have a cathedral, your village, and I have enjoyed it, and I felt warm, and I have felt welcomed, and I thank you so much for the heritage.
I'm not sure what Kate's adopted to. The last time it was white wine, but maybe it'll get a bit stronger later. Now, if I can introduce Margot Manning, and as I've emphasised before, her support and everything else from the other side of the Atlantic has been so important to keeping this thing on the rails. So I'd now like to introduce the granddaughter of William Sylvester Harley, Margot Manning.
Well, I too am not accustomed to speaking in the public, and I'm really just a shy girl with having a bad hair day. But I thank you all for everything. Our family is really honored to be here, to see all of you, to see this support. It means so much to us, and I'm going to cry if I continue on. So if you would please just, know how much it means to me that we're all here. Thank you.
Okay, now for the first time you can see the memorial that has been raised to William Harley. It is, as far as we know, the only thing in the public domain that has the ability to display the Harley-Davidson logo, and therefore we hope will become a focus for anybody visiting the UK and an ability to look at Andy's unique piece of artwork. So what I would ask now is for Margot and John to approach the two soldiers.